Alright Nintendo, we need to talk, because man oh man, these new characters you guys added in Mario Kart World are beyond nuts. When I was watching the Direct and Treehouse footage, I saw some of the oddest characters and enemies fly by on the screen. So today I would like to look at some of the craziest characters that they showed off. So, let's go. Now, I'm a really big fan of Moo Moo Meadows. Ever since Mario Kart Wii, I have absolutely fallen in love with this track. I am from a rural village after all, so the whole farm and rural aesthetic pleases my brain. And the cows that walked around there were always so adorable. However, now they are apparently a playable character. It is a cow, which is beyond crazy, because now, in a Mario Kart game, there's a cow riding on a scooter, doing tricks on a cord. Really, Nintendo, it can't get wackier than this. However, there's one thing about this new character that really bothers me. For some reason, they named him Cow, which is, in my opinion, a terrible name for this new character. Why not go with Moo Moo or something more interesting? Normally, Nintendo is incredibly creative. So what happened here, Nintendo? Come on, great character, but please go for a better name next time. The coin Coffer is a strange enemy. In many ways, it always reminded me of a Pokemon, because in later years, the Pokemon Company added a bunch of new Pokemon that look like normal, regular items that are found in real life. And the coin Coffer just looks like a purse. However, now he's also in Mario Kart, even though he doesn't have any arms. But as you will see on this list, many of these characters don't have arms. Overall, I think it's a fun character to add, and I hope that he does a cool little effect where coins pop out when he does a trick, but only time will tell. Now, during the life cycle of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, a lot of new characters were added, and most of them made sense. However, one that was very out of place was the Piranha Plant, and now it seems like he's coming to Mario Kart World as well, probably because he was surprisingly popular in Smash. Overall, I'm not as excited about this one as the others. And again, I'm wondering, how can he ever drive a car? The Condor is an enemy that we only saw in Super Mario 3D World. Well, as far as I can remember. However, now we're also going to see him in Mario Kart World. And as far as I can see, it seems like a pain in the ass for him to ride any vehicle without arms. And he might also hit his head on occasion. I mean, just look at how tall this boy is. Overall, one of the stranger choices that Nintendo made. The Snowman is an enemy we have seen in so many Super Mario games, it's kind of crazy. But most people don't really remember him, even though he was also seen in super popular games like Super Mario 64. However, now this oddity is coming to Mario Kart World. But after seeing him, I wonder, how can this guy ever survive any lava-based levels? He would melt away in seconds! Come on, Nintendo, there needs to be an explanation for this. How can the Snowman ever drive around inside of a volcano, for example? And as you can imagine, there must be a map featuring a volcano. It's a standard at this point. So, in my opinion, cool addition, but man, it doesn't make sense. Now this funny-looking crab creature is actually an enemy I had forgotten about for a while, but he has been seen in Super Mario games for a very, very long time. Actually, it's one of the first enemies ever made, and he was also featured in many Mario Kart titles. However, now he's gotten quite the upgrade, going from a standard enemy and obstacle to an actual driver in the game. So instead of walking back and forth on the map, he's actually driving around together with Mario, Luigi, and all the others. However, in my opinion, it is one of the weirdest choices out there. Really, it doesn't make any sense why they decided to add the Sidestepper to the game as an actual driver. Really, it is mind-boggling. But hey, it might actually be a fun and good character. I guess we will have to see what happens. Now, when I saw this enemy pop up as an actual driver in promotional footage, I was beyond shocked. For some reason, Nintendo took a fishing rod, plopped it in the water, and reeled out a Cheep Cheep and decided, yes, of course this thing can ride a bike. Of course this thing can drive a car. And so, this enemy that normally dies as soon as it goes on land will be driving around in Mario Kart. Really, sometimes consistency is a rare thing in Nintendo games. Because in Super Mario Odyssey, a Cheep Cheep drowns as soon as you go on land, but now all of a sudden it's used as a Mario Kart character. This is certainly one of the worst choices for a character out of all. Now, just when I thought that the craziness had ended and things were going back to normal, Nintendo decided, you know what? A skeletal fish. That is a great choice, because the Fishbone, again, I was shocked when I saw this, is actually a character in-game. This obscure enemy that is seen here and there in games like Super Mario Galaxy is now a full-fledged rider in Mario Kart World? I mean, excuse me, Nintendo, but these seem to be mindless piranha-like creatures. Why would you ever use this in Mario Kart? I mean, again, why? Now this next one is actually really great. I absolutely love it. Nintendo decided to add the Catacqu, which is a classic enemy seen in both Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Galaxy. Now, as most of you know, I love Super Mario Sunshine, and before the release of Super Mario Odyssey, it was actually my favorite Super Mario title ever made. So I think it's really cool that they added these funky duck-like creatures to the game, even though it kinda looks like Nintendo is grasping for straws at this point. Now the Peipa is a ghost-like variant of a Boo that is seen in many games like Super Mario 3D Land and New Super Mario Bros. 2. However, now this adorable looking ghost will actually be a driver in Mario Kart World. And I think in terms of design, this is one of the best and most logical choices to add to the game. This one isn't the odd one out, but feels like a natural fit for the franchise. So personally, I'm quite excited to play as this character. When I first played Super Mario Sunshine, I thought that the Pianas were weird potato-headed freaks. But in many ways, they were also adorable and really put a smile on my face. Except for the ones that threw you around. Those could be frustrating as heck. But now, the Pianas are playable characters in Mario Kart World, which feels like a natural fit. Again, this was a logical step for Nintendo to make. And I'm surprised that they actually didn't do it earlier. For example, in Mario Kart Wii, because the Pianas were also seen in Super Mario Galaxy 2, or even Mario Kart 8 Deluxe when they added a bunch of new characters. I mean, I would have much rather had the Pianas than the Rose Gold Peach character, because at the end of the day, it would be the more interesting choice. And now we are once again back in Crazy Land. Because for some reason, Nintendo thought that the Swoop, this bat-like creature that was seen in places like Wario's Gold Mine and Super Mario World, was a great fit for a new character. But personally, I think it's kind of dumb. Adding this small bat as a driver? Really, this is such a who cares enemy in the Super Mario franchise. I can't imagine that anybody asked to have this one included in the game. As far as I know, the Swoop is not popular at all. And many people, like me, actually kind of hate them, because man oh man, they could be so annoying in Super Mario World. Now this next one is a strange choice, but again, a surprisingly good fit for a Mario Kart game. The Parabitty Bud actually has his own car in the game already, so if you pair that character with that car, it actually looks pretty aesthetically pleasing. The whole design, vibe, everything matches really well. So again, while it's a choice that makes me think, why? At least it's a good fit. So while I'm confused why Nintendo even added this enemy as a character, it does at least fit with some stuff seen in the game. Now in many ways, the Stingby is similar to the Parabitty Bud, a weird enemy that was seen in games like Super Mario 3D World, but hey, at least there's a card that fits exactly with the look of this enemy. So in a way, it's aesthetically pleasing, but I can't imagine that anybody out there actually wanted this enemy to be featured as a character in a Mario Kart game ever. But hey, for those out there who love bees, this is your opportunity to live your best life. When I first saw this dolphin riding in the game, I was speechless. Because you gotta admit, it is very strange. Because you gotta admit, it's a weird day when you see a dolphin riding a motorcycle. And I bet it will look very strange in-game. Almost unnatural. However, I gotta admit, this is kind of the standard for Mario games. Nothing makes sense, but you're fine with it because it's just a cartoony video game made by Japanese people. I mean, Nintendo is known for doing crazy stuff. And this is another great example. Now, those were some of the strangest choices that Nintendo made for this game. And at the end of the day, after seeing all these new characters, I just thought to myself, it seems like Nintendo took every enemy, character, or design from past games and put them in this new Mario Kart title, just to add new ones. I mean, the most obvious ones were already used. Mario, Luigi, Wario, Waluigi, etc. However, now that they've run out of the well-established characters, they're just grabbing random enemies from past games. And in some cases it works, while in others it really doesn't. The Goomba is fine, but something like the Dolphin is beyond insane. So overall, my opinions about the characters seen in this new title are a bit mixed. It's both a stroke of genius and absolute madness. But I guess we will see how it turns out as soon as the game finally comes out. Thank you all so much for watching this short little video. I just wanted to get my opinion out there about all these strange new choices that Nintendo made for characters, because come on, they're kind of bonkers. But let me know in the comments which ones you like and which ones you don't like. And don't forget, be sure to subscribe and leave a like, because it really helps out the channel.